Hello and welcome to the Intel Brief. Today is Tuesday, 2 November. I'm your host Daniel, and today we're going to talk about Nigeria's defense minister has resigned amid a country's security crisis. Russians have claimed to capture Pokrovsk, and Bulgaria has seen massive demonstrations over their proposed budget and corruption. So firstly, Nigeria's defense minister has resigned, the presidency said on Monday, effective immediately. The presidential spokesperson said in a statement that the defense minister was quitting on health grounds. His resignation comes amid the president's declaration of a national security emergency, with plans to elaborate on its scope in due course. Nigeria has long been plagued by mass kidnappings, but in the past weeks have seen a surge in attacks and abductions by armed bandits. Most recently, gunmen attacked a church in the Kogi state in central Nigeria, abducting the pastor along with nearly a dozen worshippers during a Sunday morning service. And also on Saturday, some 30 women, including a bride who were visiting wedding guests, were kidnapped in another northwestern region of Nigeria. So what? I mean, firstly, it seems highly unlikely that he's quitting on health grounds. It's more likely that they are shaking up the defense leadership due to all of these issues. But I think it's mostly due to the amount of media attention that it's getting. I think I reported on the pastor being kidnapped last night in my daily post. But yeah, I think as the article kind of pointed out, these kidnappings aren't new, and mass kidnappings in Nigeria have been going on for quite some time. But in the last few weeks / maybe months, it's been getting significant media attention, mostly due from the US. Why, what the underlying reasons are, I'm not really sure. Maybe just trying to divert attention away from the chaos within their own country. But the current US administration seems very interested in protecting Christians around the globe, which is good, but also interesting. Very suspicious behavior from them. But yeah, it seems likely that there's pressure coming in from the US for Nigeria to step up their military operations against these bandits / terrorists who keep kidnapping people. And they're likely reached out with a wide range of support, but I think it's still unlikely that the US conducts unilateral missions by themselves, including drone strikes and stuff like that. It's more likely that US special forces would support Nigeria's efforts in operations against the bandits. And next, Russian forces have claimed to have captured the frontline town of Pokrovsk and Vovchansk, but Ukrainian officials have made no acknowledgement that either city has fallen into Russian hands. The Russian Defense Ministry claimed on Telegram that they captured the towns and posted a video showing Russian troops standing throughout town, a town identified as Pokrovsk. Moscow has sought full control of the city since last year as part of its broader objective to seize the entire Donbass industrial region. So what? This has been a long, hard-fought battle, much like Bakhmut was a year ago or 2 years ago, whenever that was. Yeah. Not ideal that they've captured it, but the amount of resources that it has taken for them to capture it. And then even if they now have secured it, they claim to have captured it 2 to 3 weeks ago. And it's taken all this time to fully secure it, even if they have at this point. Yeah. I'm very torn in this. I think on one hand, the Ukrainian defensive situation appears to be showing pretty rough signs. It's in a pretty bad place, lacking people and especially lacking support from the West in terms of ammo for key weapon systems. But on the other hand, Russia isn't breaking through and making large territorial gains, as you might see in a maneuverist warfare approach. You're more seeing extremely slow, gradual gains. taking an entire year to take over this town is it's just not that great. Was this town that key to the overall war effort? Probably not, in terms of like Kiev's overall defensive strategy. I mean, it might be to the Russians because they want to completely control the Donbas region. They likely want that before they make any agreements, so that there's no way they have to give it up or not get the rest of it. But yeah, like this just seems like we're just grinding towards a stalemate. At some point, Russia won't be able to push forward, quite possibly, and we'll just stop. And lastly, tens of thousands of people took to the streets of Bulgaria's capital, Sofia, as well as at least a dozen other cities on Monday evening in the biggest protests the Balkan country has seen for years. In central Sofia, demonstrators packed the giant square in front of the National Assembly. One of the rally organisers put the attendance at around 50,000 people, according to the Bulgaria's news agency. They chanted for a resignation and sang and danced as they waved the Bulgarian and European Union flags. The protesters projected the words resign and mafia onto government buildings around the square, as well as holding two large banners saying Gen Z is coming and Young Bulgaria without the mafia. The protesters want the government to stick to its promise to withdraw the 2026 budget with proposed steeper taxes on dividends and a hike in social security contributions. They are also angry about public sector corruption and are calling for the resignation of minority coalition government Rosen. Cannot pronounce that last name. So what? Bit of a Gen Z protest in Europe here. It's interesting to see. It seems quite possible that this is a continuation, what seems likely to be fair, a continuation of Gen Z protests that we're seeing around the globe. Basically, these are protests where young people in a country are sick of corruption and sick of paying for the older class to live a life of luxury while they have no jobs, no housing, and are facing steeper and steeper taxes due to long-term poor government financial measures. And it seems likely the outcome in Bulgaria, it seems unlikely that the government will collapse like we've seen in other countries, but it is quite possible that they will withdraw this budget and have to give in to some of the demands of the youth protesters, because this is going to be some significant pressure from the youth of a country. Interesting to see it happening in Europe. We might start seeing it in other places too, especially as fiscal measures get steeper and, cost of living is going up and taxes are getting higher and no one's really seeing good things come. So yeah, interesting to see. What it means long-term for Bulgaria is yet to be decided, but interesting. Anyway, that's been your Intel Brief. I've been your host, Daniel, and I'll see you again tomorrow. See you!